It's Friday, July 16, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Class 4 students whose preparations for the upcoming Common Entrance Examination are adversely affected by COVID-19 will be given as long as an additional month to ready themselves. The plans were revealed at a news conference today by Acting Deputy Chief Education Officer for Schools, Glenn Price.
There were a number of students at St. Joe's Primary School that are presently in quarantine, Class 4 students. Now, clearly, those students may very well be affected in terms of their preparation for the 28th. So what we have decided is that not only the students from St. Joe's, but any child, any Class 4 child, who is scheduled to write their exam on the 28th, and for whatever reason, whether they're in quarantine, whether they have just been released from quarantine, and if the parents, in their opinion, feel that the child has suffered trauma and is not mentally ready to write this examination, we will make arrangements for the child or the children to write an alternative exam in the future. When I say the future, somewhere between the 28th of July and normally the 1st of September.
Additionally, some students who were adversely affected by Hurricane Elsa's passing on July 2 have also been given a grace period by the Caribbean Examinations Council. Deputy Chief Education Officer with responsibility for planning and CXC's local registrar, Dr. Roderick Rudder, said some students were given alternative dates to take their exams, while others will benefit from the hardship policy.
For those candidates who missed out on the opportunity to write English B, which is the English literature, there were approximately 1,473 persons. The English B examination, which will be held on the 12th of August 2021 for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, will be made available for Barbadian candidates to write as well. So the opportunity will be given to Barbadian candidates to write the paper 1 for English B electronically on the 12th of August in the afternoon. That would be approximately at 1 p.m. In the case of those persons who would have been impacted regarding the CAPE Computer Science Unit 2, paper 1, they will have the opportunity to write that examination on the 20th of August in the afternoon as well. And for those candidates who were unable to write their French Unit 2, Paper 1, they will have the opportunity to write that examination on the 20th of August as well. However, there are approximately 5 subjects at the CAPE level where there would be consideration of hardship by CXC regarding the fact that there would be no alternative paper for these particular candidates, and those are in the areas of Chemistry Unit 1, the alternate paper, Accounting Unit 2, Paper 2, Building and Mechanical Engineering Drawing, Unit 1, Paper 2, Geography, Unit 1, Paper 2, and Performing Arts Unit 1, Paper 1.
Meanwhile, education authorities have put on hold the Bounce Back Summer Program intended to assist students from Infants A to Class 3 to catch up on their studies. Acting Chief Education Officer Joy Adamson said over 2,000 students were set to start the program, but the educational camp will now have to wait until the Ministry of Health and Wellness gives the green light. Summer camps have been prohibited by health authorities for the next 2 weeks as part of measures to contain a spike in COVID-19 cases.
This means that the identified start date of July the 19th for the Infants A and Infants B will now have to be adjusted. But the new date will be influenced by the future directive from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The ministry cannot state a date now until we get further direction. If the restriction for summer camps is extended, then the Ministry of Education will still put measures in place for these students who we know would have lost a lot, to ensure that when they return to school, there's time allocated for some form of remediation.
In other news this Friday, 2 men are in police custody assisting with a probe into a robbery this afternoon at Savings Plus Supermarket, Rotondo, St. Michael. Acting Inspector, Police Public Relations Officer Rodney Innes updated reporters on the investigations.
It was alleged that 2 persons had entered the establishment armed with a firearm and a cutlass and had robbed the individuals of a certain sum of monies. Now, we immediately responded. We were able to search the area, and we were successful in apprehending 2 suspects, 2 men of interest. We recovered a firearm and a cutlass, and those persons are in custody. At this stage, I'm not free to give any further information as our investigations continue. What I would say is the men, one 21-year-old, and one is a 26-year-old, those identities will be revealed if and when those persons are charged with the offenses. But we are happy that we were given the instruction and the assistance of the public, and we were fortunate to hold those 2 suspects before they really got away, escaped. We encourage the public again to remember to be safe in everyday operations, their business operations, to be constantly aware, and we focus on crime prevention techniques as we go into the weekend.
Prime Minister Mayor Motley and her family today bid an emotional farewell to loved one Warren Mottley at a celebration of his life at the St. Mary's Anglican Church. The former attorney-at-law was described as a good, well-respected and loved husband, father, son, brother and colleague. Prime Minister Motley said she was particularly proud of her brother, who was genuine.
That in every respect he was a good man, and it is that more than anything else that we celebrate today, that we have come to give thanks is the essence of what we must do, because the gratitude helps us to carry the burden of his loss, and the grief is measured only by the love that we have felt for him. So that if you want to cry, cry. And if you want to laugh, laugh. And if you want to shout, shout. And if you want to just reflect, reflect. Because it is always that ease of being himself that represented Warren. He didn't try to be somebody that he wasn't. He was who he was, and he was happy to be who he was.
Widow Shaw Motley, surrounded by her daughters and mother-in-law, described her husband as her everything and the perfect father.
I believe our love will last forever. It will last in every moment for me. It will last in every view of this beautiful island. It will last in our girls, Emmanuel and Lauren. It last forever in my soul. Warren's father, Elliot, was a shining example of how to love a woman. Warren never left my side. Without a kiss, and never started eating a meal without me. Like Amor, he had an incredible taste and an eye for beauty. He constantly showered us with love. He brought the girls and me the most beautiful and thoughtful gifts, be it clothes, jewelry, or art. He was the most incredible and devoted father. He guided and directed and nurtured the girls so that they could become the beautiful, intelligent, and confident and loving young women they are today.
And now for today's COVID-19 update. 3 males and 8 females tested positive for the viral illness from some 1,213 tests carried out by the Besta Santos Public Health Laboratory on Thursday. There are currently 123 people in isolation. Since March last year, Barbados has recorded 4,241 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 48 people have died.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, the Haitian government Friday announced that the assassinated president will be buried on July 23. The funeral service will be held in the city of CAPE, Haitian, where the 53-year-old former head of state was born. The former Haitian president was gunned down by armed men believed to be former Colombian army officials on July 7 at his private residence. His wife Martine was injured during the shooting and is now recuperating in a hospital in Miami. She is expected to return home for the funeral after earlier this week saying that the pain of his death will never pass. On the international front, Europe has been battered by days of torrential rains and floods that have left more than 100 people dead and hundreds more missing. Germany has borne the brunt of the extreme weather, with 106 people killed in 2 states, while at least 12 have been killed in Belgium.
The village of Schuld in Germany looks like it's been hit by a tsunami. At least 6 houses have been completely swept away by the River Ahr. After bursting its banks, it devastated everything in its path. Some residents took refuge on their roofs to escape the deluge. Rescue workers are still searching for dozens of missing people.
Mehr wie Katastrophe. Ganz, ganz schlimm. Also seit 50 Jahren mal in der Feuerwehr drin haben wir sowas nicht gehabt.
Es ist nur schrecklich. Und wenn man das jetzt sieht, hier hinter uns haben 2 Häuser gestanden. Man sieht ja, wie viele Häuser kaputt es ist.
People from the area described the night with horror. Water overflowing everywhere. Flood warning sirens could be heard across the region. Residents escaped however they could. A man was rescued after being trapped in his car.
Ja, ich habe sowas im Leben noch nicht erlebt. Absolut nicht erlebt. Ja, dass es auf einmal so schnell geht. Damit hat ja keiner gerechnet, ja, dass es so schnell geht auf einmal. Ja. Und das ist ja ein reißender Fluss, man sieht das, es reißt ja. Ich weiß nicht, auch von der Länge. Ne?
And the waters aren't letting up. The historic city of Bad Münsterfell has been badly damaged. Residents say it looks like it's been bombed.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.